Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining from. I'm Ali Muhammad, and today I'm excited to have us all here. Today, Mr. Sunday Jacob will be sharing his experience writing scholarship essays from a storytelling perspective. Storytelling has become a very, very important component of writing in today's world. Okay, thank you very much, and over to you, Mr. Jacob.
Hi, Brian. Can you confirm you can hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. Good evening. Thank you for having me. And
Oh,
thanks to everyone for coming.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, so I'm going to do a brief introduction about myself. My name is Sunday. My name is Sunday Jacob Wanyim. I'm from Nigeria. And I had my undergraduate degree from Federal University of Technology, Mina, Cybersecurity Department. So I'm currently doing my master's at Carnegie Mellon University, Africa, Information Technology with specialization in cybersecurity and machine learning. Yes, so that's just a bit about me. So today we are going to be talking about scholarship from a storytelling perspective. But before we start, I want to tell us a story. Then after telling us a story, then I'm going to tell us why I told us the story. And the story is going to be about myself. I'm not doing a slide for this presentation for a reason. The reason why I didn't do a slide is that I want this session to be as creative as possible. I want this session to be as flexible as possible, and doing a slide might actually not make it as creative and artistic I want it to be. So that's why we're not going to have a slide, but it's going to be engaging, and trust me, we're going to learn a lot from this session. Yeah, so what is the story? I am Sunday Jacob Wanyim. I hail from the eastern part of Nigeria, but I was born and brought up in the north. I had all my education in the north. I schooled in the north. So like most kids, right? I was actually like different in terms of the fact that I grew up from a rich home. So I actually didn't have that kind of lifestyle where I experienced the street. I was always forced. I have a timed life. I had a routine life. After school, you have your lesson teacher waiting for you. After your lesson teacher, you take your like I had a programmed life every day, and I was not happy. You get, because I felt I would have been an artistic person, and the fact that I was being confined to a location or to a program didn't bring out the best in me. Somehow, my parents lost my wealth. I'm not trying to tell you a sad story. I'm heading somewhere. Things became normal. I experienced the street. I experienced all the bullies. Experienced all the things life has to throw. But that experience was actually a good experience for me, because that experience taught me how to make decisions on my own. And what are the decisions I made for myself? I'm going to tell you one notable decision I made for myself. I was an A student, and being an A student, it might actually have happened to some of us, but yeah, maybe relate to my story when I tell you the story. Being an A student, I did my junior WAEC in school. I loved politics. Till now, I still want to be a politician. If you know me, I tell you my dream is to be a politician. So I was doing well in my art courses, my government courses, and as well, I was doing well in my science courses because I was an A student. I was only coming first in class. But somehow I never liked science, but I was doing well. So when I went to senior secondary school, my guardian and counselor called me to her office. You're a very good student. I'm sending you to science class. I asked her, why are you sending me to science class? She told me, because you did well in your science courses, intro tech, and I think we had 2 science courses in our junior secondary school. I can't remember. I know we have intro tech and integrated science, if I'm not wrong. So she told me, because of that, I'm going to go to science class. I could not argue. I had to follow that perspective. Then I was still a rich kid. I could not make decisions by myself. But during that process of my senior secondary school, I started losing a lot of things. That's when some things happened in my family, and we stopped being kind of a rich family in quotes, but we're not poor. That was when I was exposed to make decisions for myself. I did science. I was the best in physics in my secondary school, but I still never loved science. My first jump, I went to the cyber cafe. What do you want to do? I want to study engineering. What engineering do you want to study? I didn't know. I just told him any engineering apart from electrical engineering. Why didn't I want electrical engineering? Because I had an electric shock when I was young. So I had that notion. I don't want to do electrical engineering. You get, they gave me civil engineering. Why? I don't know. That's descent of the cyber cafe guy that helped me register my course. So on applying FUTMI now, I didn't get my civil engineering. They gave me project management. So that was when I started making decisions for myself. I started learning. I said, I don't think I want to do project management. I think I want to do something that will make me express the creativity in me. And I didn't feel project management will help me. I didn't even know if I was thinking, but that's what I wanted to do. Somehow I rejected the admission. People were saying getting admission in Nigeria is hard, but I didn't. That was not a deterrence. I kept pushing. Then I applied. I applied to admission 3 times. I got admission twice out of the 3 times. Then the last one in 2013, I learned about cybersecurity. I was like, oh, computer is a good thing. This is hacking. So allow me bring out the art in me to do science. I think this is what I want to do. That was how I got into cybersecurity. And that was how I got here. Let me just cut the story short. This might actually be an interesting story to you, or it might not be. But if you ever leave this session, you see my picture anywhere, even if you don't remember my name, you're going to remember this story of a guy that didn't like science, was forced to do science, and he did well in science. But he's like, because of steadfast, he turned down some admission and found IT, and he's doing IT because he can use his creativity to apply science being in IT. You'll never forget that. And that is the beauty of storytelling. Storytelling is an art. And there's something I want you to know about your graduate people that review your letters in graduate school. So in my school, somehow, I have influence in my school, CMU Africa. So I'm going to now I want to give you reasons why you should embrace storytelling before we go deep into storytelling. So I was actually following up on a friend. I wanted my friend to get admission into my school. Somehow he didn't get. Then I went to the admission officer. Why? And they told me something. They actually found plagiarism check on the guy's AC. And that was one of the reasons why he wasn't given admission. He had a good profile. So what am I trying to tell you? If you embrace storytelling, you will actually never be wanting in terms of plagiarism or copying aces. There are a lot of sample aces there. People just go there, copy those cliche words, try to rewrite them, and just paste them as SOPs. You might have all the first class, you might have all the certifications, you might have all the papers, but just because of that singular act, you can be disqualified from graduate school. That's one of the reasons why you should embrace storytelling in your essay. And now another reason why you should embrace storytelling in your essay. These guys that read your essay, they are human beings like you. Trust me, you might be smarter than them. I've actually engaged with a lot of them. You might be smarter than them. They are human beings. And human beings, we lack that patience. If you are not telling me what I want to hear, I might automatically just put you aside, even if you have interesting things about you. I just want you to tell me something interesting. And if you're using those cliche words, if I read the first cliche word for the first time, it might make sense. But what if your essay falls in the number 15th essay of the day and you read it? What will happen? You might actually sound like what other people have been writing. The person can just, this sound like the former person, let's just move it away. And you might actually lose your admission. And essay writing is one of the strong point. I know you guys have had a lot of sessions on scholarships. And if you're into scholarship, I know scholarship is a full-time job. So like if you feel bad, it's normal. I went through those process as well. You can actually have all the first class in the world, you still get rejection. It's not even about first class. So scholarship journey is like that. But what I'm just trying to tell you is that yeah, you need to keep pushing, and at the same time, you need to also keep improving your application document. And one way of improving your application document is to write in your essay. So that's where we are going to go into storytelling. Now, storytelling is an art, right? Yeah, there is a structure of how to structure your essays. I know you've had a lot of sessions. Structure, structure is good, right? But at the same time, you can try to keep structure, but creatively tell your story in a way that looks different from the way other people structure their stuff. And the people will honestly buy your idea over all those people that just follow a particular structure. I'm going to explain further. I'm going to be giving us some tips on storytelling. And as I'm giving the tips, I'm going to be explaining to you guys using one of the essays that got me the scholarship I'm currently in. I'm a Mandela. So before I start, let me introduce my scholarship. My scholarship is Minds Africa Scholarship. So Minds Africa Scholarship is a scholarship for Africans that want to study in another African country. Yeah, I know most of us want to Japan, which is valid. My motivation, me too, I'm actually outside Nigeria already, and I have plans of moving further, right? And it's actually a valid reason. But I want to tell you guys that Minds Africa Scholarship is a scholarship you should consider. A scholarship that can take you out of Nigeria to very good schools. And they have it's not like they don't just take you to any school in Africa. They have partner universities, and their partner universities are among the top schools in Africa. And some of them are actually very good schools that can compete with other schools in the world. And aside the academic knowledge you can get, Minds Africa Scholarship, you can make up to 7K annually, $7K annually from stipend and other bonuses from being a Mind Scholar, depending on the school you are. And making that kind of money living in Africa is actually a big deal. So it's a scholarship I want. I see it as the chevening for Africa. It's not a popular scholarship. It's a scholarship you should check out. I'm actually a beneficiary of that scholarship. And the scholarship is rigorous because they expect you to have a high academic standing, something around first class. And you have to write like 7 essays. You have to do an interview of about 2 hours with a lot of smart people. That is by the way. But I'm going to be using the essay of mine. The Mind Scholarship have 7 essays, and those 7 essays more like touch across all the aspects you are supposed to cover when writing your graduate essay. So please, you can always stop me to ask questions. I want this class to be as interactive as possible. Yeah, and I also love feedbacks to know if I'm actually like on the right track because everybody's just quiet. I hope my stories are engaging.
Yeah, we're following you. Yeah, we're enjoying the stories.
Yes, we're following you.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so mines have 7 essays, like I told you, 6 or 7 essays. So yeah, one is what motivated you to apply for the above mentioned course at the respective institutions. That's one of the first questions you're going to answer. And that's one of the questions you answer in your scholarship essay. You're going to tell them, what's your motivation? You're going to tell them about, briefly describe yourself and the experiences that shaped your current views about Africa. Then, what is your motivation for applying for the Mind Scholarship? So like when we are discussing through this story, right, we all have different stories. So it's actually going to be like a how do I say it? Like we going inside ourselves and more like a self-discovery program. Where we're more like the truth is that we all have a story. Every day of our life, we create a story, right? You just left for us to think inwardly and more like understand that what we're actually doing is actually a good story. And now connect the dot of all the things we do every day and see how to make it a very wonderful story. You can actually make everything a wonderful story. It's actually an art and it's something that you can learn and you learn by practice. But we're actually going to go through samples. I don't just want to tell you, write a compelling essay, make the reader wanting to keep reading, all those kind of things. Those are cliche words. You hear those things every day. But how can you do it in letter writing or in an essay writing? So I think we're going to be talking about. So why do you deserve Mind Scholarship? That means why do you deserve the scholarship? Then leadership and service. Describe an instance in your life where, based on personal conviction, you took an initiative to mobilize a group of people to achieve a particular objective for the benefit of a community. That is where your volunteering can come in and your leadership can come in. And these are components that should be contained in your SOPs. Then I talked about what is your vision for Africa. Then I talked about, have you contributed or how do you plan on contributing towards creating the Africa you envision? So these are simple questions that when you put together, right, it can actually form a component of your SOPs. This is naturally not going to be like a session of how to write SOPs, how to structure SOPs. This is going to be a session of how to come up with a story of writing SOPs. So now I'm going to be telling you guys another thing. When I started, when I understood the essay writing part, because I started doing scholarship a long time, I got a lot of rejections, but I kept improving my document. But I later understood this the storytelling part of scholarship. And when I understood it, right, then I knew that once you tell me to write a story, I don't just start writing. The first thing you should do, the first 1 week, when they tell you write an essay, the first 1 week you should do is self-discovery. And self-discovery is like, okay, this program, I want to apply for this program. What are the stories? What about my creativity? If you tell me to apply for a program now, I can take some extract of that my story, right? And add it to something and try to match it to what you want me to apply for. I need to bank. It's just left for me to have that story in my head. It makes sense in my head. Then the words will come. It's just like programming. Do you understand the program? If you know understand how the program works, then the syntax of the codes will come out. You go to Stack Overflow, you see things, you write it. The words will come. You don't need to copy it, but the words will come. The first thing is, do you know what you want to write? That's the first thing. I feel a lot of people don't really go through that discovery part. They just start writing, write cliche word. I'm enthusiastically motivated, all these big words. Yeah, those things are good words. Trust me, those are cliche words. When you learn how to using cliche words are not bad. Just don't get me wrong. But when you learn how to use those cliche words to tell a story, that is when it bangs the more. That is when you actually get people attention. So, and yeah, and another thing you can do, the self-discovery part is actually a thing that can take up to a week. Every day, just keep thinking about it. Let your subconscious mind act on it. I want to write this essay. This program is on maybe business analytics. What have I done that can relate to this? What have I done? Subconsciously keep thinking of it. And something, if your subconscious acts on something, somehow you keep getting points, then have a journal, keep writing. I have this story. So when you compile a lot of stories, then you can find a way of connecting all those different stories to be one story, or you find a way of prioritizing those stories to choose the ones that will bang the more, and then you now put it into writing and refine your story, and you have a very good SOP. So we're going to be talking about it. So now let's start answering those questions. So the first question, what motivated you to apply for the above mentioned respective course? So when you get this kind of question, that's where you need to do research. They want to know that you know about their school. And this research can be about their statistics, the department, a professor. Like, they just want to know that you have information about them. You get? So those are the kind of things they want to do. So you have to write it in a very good, compelling way. So how I wrote it. So I'm going to be like going through my essays, right? It's an essay that got me Mind Scholarship, and Mind Scholarship is a prestigious scholarship. So because how it works is that if you can get a benchmark of something that have won something, it's actually going to build your mind. So like knowing how you can come up with something that can help you win what you want to get. I'm rooting for all of you. All of you are going to get scholarship. You're just getting these final details in place, and it's going to work. So now, so how I answer the question, and I'm going to read out my essay, and I'm going to tell you the motive behind what I did. So I said, according to Carnegie Mellon University Africa, March 2022 alumni statistics, it was recorded that CMU Africa has 262 alumni, with about 95% of them working in Africa, directly impacting the development and application of ICT on the continent. This is one of the strongest.
Okay. So I have a quick
Yes.
request before you go on. So
Yeah.
I have like just two requests. The first request is if you don't mind maybe turning on your video, because it looks like everything is just blank and plain. So if you don't mind turning on the video, and also I don't know how you feel about this, maybe sharing your screen or something, or maybe you want to share the essay you're reading. Maybe some people would like to see that, although I know you may want to avoid plagiarism by all means, but if you don't mind as well. So those are just the two things I wanted to say. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, you're muted.
I said, hope my videos are actually working.
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah.
We can see you.
Okay, so I'm trying to get it up, and then I share my screen.
Okay. I hope everyone is following. You can just send thumbs up in the chat if you are still here and you're following and you're enjoying the story like I'm doing. All right, I can see some thumbs up. All right, thank you.
Yeah. So can you see my essay?
Oh, yes, I can see that from here. I hope every other person can see as well. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay,
yes.
that's good. So yeah, I started with statistics. So I'm going to read it and then I'm going to take us through my thought process towards doing this. This is actually going to help us a lot in writing our essays, like I told you. So like according to Carnegie Mellon University, yeah, I've talked about this. So I'll just start. This is one of the strongest motivation for me studying CME Africa. How an African-based university produces sound graduates that are making tremendous impact in Africa excites me. I'm confident that CME Africa is the right place for me in training and developing me to achieve my career goal. So now I moved on to this is just like giving statistics, random statistics. I didn't actually start telling my stories here. So I was just telling them why I want them or why I'm motivated to apply for them. So I now talked about the course. I talked about the school, then I talked about the course. So now talking about the course, then I was like the MSIT at CME Africa is a graduate program that is focused on training future leaders and ICT engineers in Africa. The program combines hands-on experimental learning to advance technology and innovation that will grow the business that will transform Africa. In addition, CME Africa is one of the top universities in the field of technology. The courses are taught by highly trained personnel that integrate problems of the continent that makes the program special. Then I now went to the curriculum. Now it's actually like a hierarchical form of writing. So this is like creative. This is like sparking the creativity in you, right? Now I started with the school as a whole. Then I went to the department. Then I went to the curriculum. So that was how I structured it. So now in the curriculum part, I was like, this curriculum at CMA Africa for MSIT program is tailored to give me the required knowledge to be a leading figure in cybersecurity in Africa. I've identified Professor Hassan Gwe, a lecturer at CMA Africa, whose research area focuses on the security of large-scale systems, which closely align with my career plan in ICT, which is becoming a security architect. I believe what I learned from him, the department and the school as a whole, will train me achieving my career goal, which is becoming a renowned person in designing, developing security systems for big organizations. Now, my thought process, like I told you, the school, the department, the curriculum, and that's where I identify the lecturer. So with this kind of information now, the school will be like, this guy didn't just write a random statement. This guy is writing because he identified something, he did some research. And the beauty about this mind scholarship is you are subjected to like limited word, 250 words. So anything you are writing, you have to make sure that you are telling your story and hitting the point at a specific amount of words. That's what makes it tricky, and that's what makes scholarship like Chevening very tricky. Chevening is a very tricky scholarship because Chevening gives you a limited amount of time and it wants you to hit the point on the nail. So any sentence you make in Chevening has to be a very good sentence, not just like filler words. Like a lot of people use a lot of filler words in their essay. They write a lot of long sentences that are actually not saying a meaning. So when you write this kind of essay that are compounded, that compounds you with like word limits, it makes you more like learn how to write and learn how to make every sentence you write make sense. So yeah, so the next thing that I'm going to talk about, the next essay, which is describe your experience and what have shaped your current views about Africa.
Before you go on,
Now,
maybe I don't know, maybe people have questions or maybe a comment about this. So we don't compound all the questions till the end of the presentation. So we can just chip in comments and questions at this point. So any questions and comments from the audience? This is a very great opportunity to ask great questions. So I believe if you have any questions, you should just straight out there. Oh, no one. Okay, I was just going to say something. There's something called inverted pyramid method of writing. I think the first question you answered kind of mirrors the inverted pyramid method of writing. So inverted pyramid is just like a pyramid that is inverted, right? So you start from the O and then you go down and then you talk about maybe a part of the O and then you talk about a part of that part, which is a very interesting way of writing. I really love the way you structured the first paragraph, and I think it's just like you said, it makes it bound, which is very cool. Yeah. So that's just what I was going to say. Anyways, that's my own comments. So if anyone has any comments after each of the questions, I think you should just try to ask the question before we get to the end, so you don't start going back to the beginning to ask questions. I was meant to come at the beginning.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
maybe you can also stop after each question to
Okay,
ask
no
people
problem.
questions.
I think I'll take that approach. Thank you very much, Mr. Ibrahim. Yeah, so like he said, that was the approach I took in writing. And we are still going to go more in depth, but let's go over the questions as well. So yeah, describe your experience, yourself and experiences that shaped your current views about Africa. Include a description of how you've been exposed and interacted with other Africans. So now there are questions. So when you're writing essays, right, make sure you answer all the questions that are asked, right? So here they say describe yourself and how you've been exposed or interacted with other Africans. So now these are two different questions. You get, so make sure as you are writing, make sure in as much as you are writing something that makes sense, also make sure you're answering those questions that are asked. Because most of this scholarship committee, like if you've gone through the Erasmus scholarship um, website, most of them have a metric. They'd be like, if you fill this part, you have this percentage. If you fill this part, you have this percentage. So even if you do very well in one part, you might actually get the full percentage, but you can still lack another part, which will reduce your chances of getting the scholarship. So when you're asked a question in a scholarship essay, make sure you attempt every question and make sure you write something that makes sense. So now to answer, I saw it as a two question, and then I answered it using 2 paragraphs. Now, the first question, describing myself. I'm a graduate of computer science with a specialty in cybersecurity from the Federal University of Technology, MENA. My commitment to academics manifested in my emergence in the top 10% of my graduating class. I have over 2 years of working experience actively involved in management of IT systems of both government and private organizations. My experience working in different capacity as network and security manager has developed my skills and held my attention to details, ability to multitask, and dedication to effectiveness. This is me telling about myself in 100 or 150 words, because I'm writing in 250 words, so I can't really expatiate more. So this is me writing in that specific span. Then the next thing I talked about, what are the experiences that have shaped my current views about Africa, and giving an example. I've leveraged social media to make friends from other parts of Africa, most notably Steve from Kenya and Cedric from Ivory Coast. They are both software developers working in their respective countries. Something I see in them is their passion for innovation, excellence, and rising above the challenges in Africa to make an impact. Right? Steve is sent to launch a web hosting company in Kenya, and Cedric, who was admitted into Carnegie Mellon University, is working on a machine learning model. I was able to link them together, and we've been assisting each other in our various projects. Meeting both of them has changed my views about Africa and has given me a renewed hope that the continent can attain greatness. Africa culture is rich and diverse, and this can inspire creativity, drive innovation. With the right training, we can raise Africans to solve the problems in Africa. When I met these guys, I never thought that this can be a story. The first draft I started writing didn't make sense. And there's one way I used to know if something makes sense or not. One way I know is I write something, I give it to my younger brother to read it for me. Because if I'm reading it from myself, in my subconscious, it might actually make sense. But when I tell my brother to read it for me, or I tell somebody else to read it to me, if it doesn't make sense to me, I'll be like, no. And one thing you should not do in scholarship, don't lie to yourself. You can tell somebody might be like, this thing makes sense, very good. But if it doesn't make sense to you, it doesn't make sense. Make sure you are giving your best. Because if you lie to yourself, you will not get it. That's the worst thing you can do in this life, lying to yourself. That is why you should actually never lie to yourself. Make sure you are giving it your best. Try your best. If your best doesn't work, that is fine. But you know you give it your best. But don't lie to yourself. So that's where. So how did I meet these guys? I applied for a lot of scholarships. I applied for Chevening. I applied a lot of times in Chevening. I got rejection. The last one, I passed. I went to interview. I failed interview. I applied for Erasmus. I went to the last stage. I was dropped. So I've applied for a lot of scholarships. So I actually understand how most of these scholarships work. So now, how did I meet these guys? I met these guys from websites, scholarship websites that I joined. That's how I met Steve. That's how I met Cedric. All these things I said, I never lied. Don't lie in your SOP. But I was doing these things, but I never knew that this was what it meant until when I wanted to write the essay. You get? Hello? Okay. Until when I wanted to write this essay, it sparked my subconscious mind, right? And my subconscious mind made me know that, this thing I was actually doing, discussing with these people, was actually talking about machine learning, talking about projects we are working on actually makes sense. This can actually be a good story if I can tell it well, right? That is where you sitting down to think come. Because if I never sit down to think, I'll be it's normal, it's just WhatsApp. Hey bro, how are you? Have you applied for this scholarship? No, what are you doing? I'm a software engineer. It just be like a normal random conversation, right? But knowing how to see those things you do, that's why I say everything we do every day is a story. You leaving your house, talking to people is a story. You just left for you to know how to pick those different points and making it a story that can bang. Actually, that's how I understand scholarship. That's how it works for me. There's no one standard way of scholarship. The way somebody understands scholarship is like my own way how I understood scholarship. And that was how I did it, and that's how it worked for me, and it's still working for me. So yeah, so this is just it for this definition. And these kind of questions come out in your SOPs. So this is like an abstract that you can get ideas from. So yeah, you can ask a question here.
Yeah, that was also another great paragraph. I think for me, what I learned from this paragraph is being able to create something out of something that looks like nothing, which is very interesting. You know, some of these things we take for granted, like you just mentioned. It's very easy to take such things for granted, professionals in the same company or something. But just like you said now, it really makes a lot of sense that those experiences are things that we can really create stories from. And it all depends on how creative we are and how much we are able to push ourselves beyond our boundaries. Yeah, very great paragraph again. Thank you for this great opportunity.
Yeah, I think Yusuf wants to ask a question. Hi, Yusuf.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
The thing is that you try to actually think a lot, like you don't really see anything to connect it with. So can you lie in such cases? Can you just create something like, so what do you do when you actually think a lot, but nothing seems to come to your mind? What do you do in such cases?
Okay, I think I'm going to tell you how I navigate this kind of thing. Please don't lie in your essay. You know, I advise not to lie. There are people that are very good at lying that can defend their lie. It works for them. What if you are not good at lying? And why will you want to live your life with lies? What if you go into politics today and someone brings out this information and puts you out in the media? You are gone. That is one of the reasons why you should not lie when you go to a professional setting. But then I know the world is tough. A lot of people don't trust people, but I actually have a lot of few trusted friends, right? I have a lot of trusted friends. Then I'm going to explain. My trusted friends, as one is my mother, one is my best friend, Oluyomi Ayonfelua. I think he should be on this call. And yeah, I have few trusted friends. And there's something I do with my trusted friend. I have a mentor. Semester. Once the result is out, I tell my mother, Mommy, this is what I got. I got this. My mother don't understand how GPA works. It's over 5. I might tell her, Mommy, I got 4.6, 4.7. She'll be like, oh, you got AA, you got B. Why did you get B? Work harder. She might not even know that the course is hard. Me, I'll say, okay. I'm not telling her for her to scold me. It helps me. Now I'm going to give you an example. Before I don't want to deviate, but having an accountability partner does one thing. It makes you keep yourself on the toe that maybe I have to subconsciously or consciously report my progress to somebody. So that will make you want to put effort to do something. So even here in Canada, I'm doing my master's degree, but every semester I tell my mother my result. My mother cannot beat me. I'm an old man, right, doing masters. But that is just my way of how I learned. I learned that through a book and I've been putting it into practice and it has been working for me. I've been getting good results. I think that's one of the cases. Now I'm going to explain to you why having an accountability partner is good. When I wrote this essay, I didn't write it alone. I wrote it with my friends. Now I told my best friend, man, I've done a lot of things. He understood me. man, I've done a lot of things and he knows much about me. Man, what can I talk about this thing? You get? So even this conversation, having that was how I got my point. So when I'm writing essays, my friends, discuss with them, this is what I've done. That is like people that you can't have everybody. This is just me. You might really not be the kind of friend, but I don't have too many friends. But I have like few accountability partners I talk to. This is what I want to do. This is what I've done. How can I create a story? Trust me, you get excellent ideas, right? And that was how these kind of things come. And trust me, these scholarship things, if you can tell a simple story that has impact, they will pick you over that person that use big English and SOPs with big English. I honestly know how to speak big English, but if you can learn how to simplify your things, say simple things that has great value, people will pick it over hard things. People want you to do hard things in a simple way. So if you can tell a simple story, that bangs the more. I don't know if I was able to answer your question, but that's how I get my things working. How you so?
Okay, yeah, I understand what you are saying, sir. But I would appreciate it if we can, because I don't really have much friends like that I can relate to when writing these stories to actually even assess my performance. So I don't stories like that, then to review it for me and also assess it and give me feedback on where I can improve on. I really appreciate it. So.
Okay. I'm going to give out my contact details, like my Twitter handles, maybe after. But just to add on that, the best person to come up with a story is still yourself. That is where your subconscious mind acts on it. You tell yourself, this is what I want to do. These are the points I want to raise. I'm looking for a story that connects me with other Africans. How do I do it? Because when I saw the question at first, I was saying, I've never met Africa. Like Nigeria is a society where we don't have a lot of foreigners. We have few foreigners in Nigeria. Like there are a lot of more foreigners, but in terms of like interaction, you interact with foreigners less in Nigeria than when you live in Nigeria. When you live in Nigeria, most countries have, like countries that have, like I'm currently in Rwanda, I've interacted with people from different nationalities from different continents. But while I was in Nigeria, I meet people from other continents, but I don't interact with them that often. So I was really kind of limited in the way I tell that story. But just a simple conversation sparks that, oh, even a social media WhatsApp chat can actually be a story that makes sense. So that was how it came up with. I'm going to give you my Twitter handle. We can reach out there. I can actually help you review your essays at my spare time. I can talk and tell you how to better make a lesser complicated essays and how to get a very good stories. So yeah, so if you have any question, you can stop me. I will talk. Okay, if there's no question because of time, let's move because we have time constraint. So now, what is your motivation for applying for Mind Scholarship Program? Yeah, so I'm going to read the essay, then I'm going to explain some things. So this was how I wrote the essay. As a Nigerian living in Nigeria, I had access to fewer opportunities, and there was a need for me to broaden my horizon. So when CMA Africa came along with the promise to power and support the most ambitious African dreams, I knew this had to be for me. CME consists of highly intelligent and diverse individuals from around Africa who are passionate about the continent. However, there seems to be a challenge moving to this next chapter of my career, and it is a financial constraint. My family total's monthly income is around $500, and unfortunately, they can't afford to pay for my tuition at Carnegie Mellon University Africa. CME will afford me a unique opportunity in furthering my studies in a world-class institution and get me closer to achieving my dreams. Being considered for financial aid by Mandela Institute for Development Study Minds Scholarship Program for leadership development will afford me an amazing academic experience. The world-class and Pan-African education offered at CME will give me the chance to be part of an amazing network of young Africans motivated by the development of the continent. I would have the opportunity to be a member of another large community of African technology leaders as a Mind Fellow. This will afford me a unique opportunity to interact and to be active in the development of Africa using ICT. There's no doubt in my mind that I'm a well-rounded individual, and given an opportunity like this, I'll become a productive asset in contributing to the development of Africa. So yeah, the question is, what is your motivation? So now, the way Mind Scholarship work, you have to apply to their partner universities. If they give you admission, then you apply to Minds. More like Chevening, you have to get admission, then you apply to Chevening. That's how mine work. So I had to make it clear, I don't have money to pay for your tuition. So you can actually, my aim, I just had to be very honest. I don't have money. But inside I don't have money, I don't have money was my motivation for writing this essay. But yes, I had to look forward. Yes, I had to look forward to actually fill up the other parts to make it look like more of a writing, but I don't have money. So that's why the first part, I had to tell them, this is what I like about this school I'm going to. It does this, it does this, it does this, but however, I don't have the money. Then I told them about my family's constraints and everything. Then I gave them some brief things about CMU. That's like the world-class education in CMU and the network I'll build, and also the external network I'm going to build from Minds, because Minds has network of scholars that studies in different countries. So having that network of smart people from around Africa is also going to be a plus that's going to build my capacity. Then I now ended it with like a cliche statement. There's no doubt in my mind I'm a well-rounded. These are just filler words which you can think and write. So that was how I structured it. It might not be the best way of structuring it, but that was what that was what came to my mind. That was the story I wanted to tell. I don't have money to pay, but I have visions. I have things I want to do. And that was the motivation. And that's like putting it into writing after you have what to say. So if you have a question, you can ask me. Any question? I hope this session is not boring.
Oh, I think you can go ahead. Yeah, there's probably no question at this point. Yeah, it's a very interesting session.
Okay, so now why do you deserve a scholarship? Why do you deserve a scholarship? I'm going to read this story, then I'm going to tell you guys a story why I took up this story. I'm going to give you a story. So now, why do you deserve a scholarship? So all these abstracts are things that are going to somehow you're going to fix it into your essays. When you're writing your SOP, you're going to do your introduction, you're going to talk about your motivations, why do you deserve the scholarship? All this are abstract. That's why I want to use this mind scholarship essays to actually drive that point, so that when we have that in our head, when we're writing our SOP, it's going to like direct us and inform us on how to better write. So now, technology is a driving force that can be used to actualize a better continent. To achieve that, we need more leaders in the ICT space that will observe the development and policy making of technology to ensure the continent reaps its full benefits. This scholarship will aid me with the financial capacity to undertake this program and also help nurture my leadership qualities to become a leading figure in ICT that will drive the economy of the continent. Now, and I talked about, now this is where I told the story. I've faced several challenges over the years, most notably losing my dad in my final year of my study. It affected me both psychologically and financially. I had to take up a part-time job at the cyber cafe close to my school to raise money to survive, as my mother struggled to financially care for me and my younger brother, who was a first-year student as of then. This was the first time I had to combine schooling and working. It was stressful and very demanding. However, I was able to maintain a good result. I made a GPA of 4.56 and 4.75 in my final semesters, final first and second semester respectively. I believe I deserve this scholarship because I have genuine achievable plans for my career and determination to achieve my goals. No matter what hurdles I face, if I'm fortunate enough to get the scholarship, I'll be 100% committed to my studies. I'll repay the trust that you have shown in me by being a model student, by supporting others, ensuring I achieve my goals and promoting the African dream. Then when did I come up with this question? This is actually like emotion. You know, in this life, learning how to tell people what they want to hear is a good skill. Let me just go informal. Boys that know how to do that actually know how to talk to more girls. It's just a psychology. People want to hear something. Can you tell them what they want to hear? And that is where the art comes in. Can you tell them? Now, what brought me here? Nobody wants to hear suffer story. Everybody have suffered. Me bringing my father's story here, I was not looking for pity. If you use pity as your headway for writing scholarship essay, you get rejections. Nobody wants to pity you. Everybody is suffering. So, like in the whites, in their head, all of us, we're Africans. Most Africans are suffering. So they know that we are suffering. So that's not what they want to hear. So in your suffering, what have you done? That is what informed me writing this. Oh, I suffered. I lost this. I had to take up this, right? take up a job to do this, to achieve this. And even with all the stress, I still maintain this. So now the cliche words I wrote at the end, I believe I deserve this scholarship because I'm determined, like all these things I wrote, right? I've explained it in my story. Now with the story you've read and all these things, it just match. You'll be like, oh, this guy is actually determined. Things might not be working for him. Even maybe he's a PhD student in my lab. He might not actually have all the data, might not have all the information. He's not going to give up. He's not going to leave the program. Man, high school and graduate school is hard though. I've been telling my friends there are a lot of programs how to get scholarship, but nobody's talking about how to stay in scholarship. Scholarship is not easy. I think people need to start talking about it. I came to this school, I thought about dropping out. I've been a student all my life. I thought about dropping out of school. That's how graduate school is. If you have friends in graduate school, you can talk to them. You get. But that's like a question of another day. So these people that are admit you, they want to see that you will not leave this school. You get. Like of recent, I think Hadiza should be on this call. I made a case in my school that Futumina should come. Because my school, a lot of people come, they drop out, they can't sustain, they drop. So what my school do is that when a school comes to my school, they assess their students. If they do well, then they bring more. So the first student from Futumina to come to my school was Esther Yobami. I know she has been on this channel one time. So the best getting students in my set. Esther came here first, then I was the second that came. She did very well, and I'm actually doing very well. So I made a case to them that Futumina, like in my school, when they hear Nigeria, the school that comes to their mind is Unilag, Unibadan, right? Because these are the schools that have come and their students have done well. So most of these other schools, when they come, they go, right? Their students are not able to face the rigorous academic activities that happen here. They drop out or something. You get. So I made a claim this year. We have like about 5 Futumina students, if I'm not wrong. So I'm trusting them to do well because Futumina is a very good school. I'm not trying to brag. Futumina is a good school because it actually stretches you. No disrespect to other schools, but there are a lot of good schools in Nigeria. But this is where I'm actually heading to. All these schools in graduate school, they don't want students to drop out. A lot of people drop out. Nobody wants to invest his money in somebody that will drop out. So how do you show them that you are determined? So don't come and tell them I'm enthusiastically determined. Don't tell them those things. How have you been enthusiastically determined? That is what they want to hear. That is where you need to tell a story. And I thought about plenty things, but this was what I came up. Honestly, trust me, when I was writing this story, I was not crying. It looked like I was crying. I was not crying. I thought about that's why writing can take up to 3 weeks or 2 weeks or even 1 month. It's not something you just wake up one morning and just start writing. You have SOP, the deadline is next week. You want to write an SOP. It might not work except you have a super brain. You have to think, sit down, think, and write. So that is where it comes. Okay, if somebody asks you, why do you deserve this scholarship? You want to tell them that you are good, and you have to tell them some attributes that you feel can make you design. So you know to tell a story that shows those attributes. So that was my thought process, because I want to take you through my thought process so that you can inwardly think about yourself and take yourself through your own thought process to come up with your own story. Well, man, if you think about your own story, you can't copy my essay. If you copy my essay, that means you are not, if you tell your story, you don't copy me. If you copy me, that means you are not telling your story. And we all have a story. So that's just the point. So if you have a question, you can ask.
I think you just stylishly advertise Futumina to everybody. Maybe you go and write a letter to your vice chancellor to pay for branding, branding services and marketing. Yeah, interesting. That's a very interesting paragraph, and it's also very emotional. But the person that reviewed this will probably not feel the emotions because they would have read a lot of things. But for a normal person or for an average person like me, it's quite emotional. But it's also interesting how you use the emotions to, to achieve your goal, which is very great. For me, it's like a masterpiece. This paragraph itself. I thought the other paragraphs were like masterpieces, but this is a like masterpiece of masterpieces. I'm not sure that's correct anyways, but yeah. So I just to put this out there, I also have a little bit of experience in Futumina. I think I did a research assistantship position for like 8 months. And yeah, I think this was quite, I had an experience I didn't have anywhere before I got to Futumina. I'm not trying to advertise Futumina anyways, but I'm just saying, I'm just trying to corroborate what you said. So I think there are some things that are unique about that school, and it's a school that people can go actually. But if not for ASU, WAL, and all those things, I think it's one of the best public schools in Nigeria, public universities in Nigeria. That's just by the way, anyways. All right, maybe we should go on. I think we're running out of time, and this is really interesting. I don't want us to miss out on anything. So I just, maybe you can speed up a little bit questions.
Okay, no problem. I'm going to speed up. I think we're in the last 2 or last 3 essays, so I'm going to speed up.
All right.
So now the next essay is leadership. Yeah, so this is what they want to see. They want to see you a leader. And most essays, most scholarship like chevening, if chevening is your focus, chevening want to see that leadership in you. How are you being a leader, and how can you? And trust me, being a leader, you don't need to be the president of Nigerian Youth Parliament to be a leader. Like one little thing. I'm going to tell you this story. I'm going to tell you how I came up with this story. Yeah, so during my mandatory national youth service, I was posted to serve at the Nigerian Police Force Headquarters, Abuja. Here, I noticed a lack of synergy among the corps members. I realized that an effective means of addressing this challenge was to create a forum that will better foster a better relationship among us, uniting our voices. I was able to influence some of my colleagues, and together we were able to secure approval from the Force Authority, and the forum came to be. When my colleagues saw my passion and vision, they elected me as the pioneer president of the association. This gave me the opportunity of promoting synergy between the surrounding communities and the police to fight crime. The major problem the corps members faced is accommodation in the barracks, which became my first task as the president, of which I solved in making it a major milestone in my tenure as the president. My passion for community service knows no bound, and this has led to the organization of a community policing awareness program for the police force. Aside from working for the police, my ambition to see a better Africa free from corruption led me to organize and mobilize over 500 corps members to partner with the Economic and Financial Crime Commission for anti-corruption work in Abuja, Nigeria. The 10-kilometer anti-corruption work was aimed to galvanize Nigerians to embrace the fight against corruption by raising awareness about the consequences of corruption on individual and Nigeria's economy. This was what I wrote, and I'm going to take you through my thought process. It might not be the best writing, but I'm going to take you through my thought process where I did this. If you ask John C. Maxwell what is leadership, he tells you influence. Right? Leadership is influence, right? But in summary, what is leadership? Leadership is the ability for you to use anywhere you are to create a change or to do something that's actually going to like create a better society or a better environment. That's actually leadership, if you tell me to define leadership. So now when I was thinking about leadership, yeah, like my friends we know, like I said, I did tech. If you ask me today, I want to be the president of Nigeria, I have it. It does not change. It has been a lifelong dream. I'm doing tech. I'm not doing bad in tech. I know how to write code. I know how to do things, but I know how to do politics, right? So I've always been drawn towards leadership and leadership-related stuff. But one thing is, so I've done a lot of leadership. I'm not even going to lie. And everything that is here is actually not lie, but I just learned how to tell the story the best way. I did NYSC. I served with the police. I was the Nigerian Police Corps president. I was in EFCC CDS group. They call it CDS. We led a team. We went to Astorok. We met Magu. All those things, we did it. But I never thought these things make sense. So just normal vibes, carry placard, say no to corruption. All of us will catch vibes, will come back. It's just normal thing. But it was when I sat down to think, oh, this actually makes sense. This can actually be a story, but it just depends on how you tell the story. That's where scholarship come into place. You have to go into your subconscious self. Honestly, trust me, if you can learn how to go into your subconscious, that's why they say people that meditate every day are more productive and effective. Because if you embrace meditation, you learn a lot of things. Because when you can go into your subconscious self, there's some things you discover about yourself that you actually might not discover on a regular time, right? And that's where it's come into place. What have I done? Then you have that deep conversation within yourself, and then if you have accountability partner, like I earlier mentioned, you can have those conversations. So I worked with the police. I was doing a lot of things with the police. I working with the police, I had a lot of enemies. This guy is police, but I tried my best to. Nigerian police is big, though I was meeting with IG and the rest, but I will not lie, there's corruption in police. I'm not even going to lie. So everybody knows that one is the standard stuff. But while I was in the police, I tried to do a lot of things. How do I change things? You get? So we started with a forum. From a forum, we started anti-corruption stuff, and how to like try to help people. I won't say it was the most effective stuff to do, but we made effort. My own is just to write what I did, and that was what I did. transferring what I did. So that was my thought process here as a police president. There was no forum. We started a forum, you get. And the way I wrote it, right, made more sense, right? And anybody that reads this thing, we show that, oh, this guy can actually drive influence and raise people to achieve a goal. People will be like, oh, this can be a very good leader. That was what I was trying to, that was the picture I was trying to paint. So just have a picture in your head, keep drawing it, draw the clean. That's how you write essay. When you have the picture makes sense. Then you can, this writing, it took me time. Even after having the picture, it took me time to write. I have the picture, then I start writing. If I write, it doesn't draw well. I clean it, I keep writing till I get what I want. When I see it as match the picture, then I'll be like, okay, this is a good essay. So that's my thought process in writing. I don't know if it's the best, but I feel if this essay can win a prestigious scholarship, following this thought process can also help you as well. So yeah, so that is it. So we can go to another question, or you can ask the question.
Yeah, I think you should maybe just go to the next one, and then maybe we just add up all our comments and questions at the end. We are really enjoying this. We want to keep enjoying it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the next thing is, what is your vision for Africa or more? I wrote a lot of things here. So yeah, let's go. My vision for Africa is to be a continent of vast technological advancements where we all come together to combine technical know-how and manpower in developing sophisticated devices or new finding via research to improve the quality of life. This is a cliche word, I know. So according to the words of Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon that we can use to change the world. I want to see local talents being not valued and properly nurtured to reduce the desire of young African youth wanting to migrate to the West in search of better living. Training youth on recent technologies will drive a digital economy in Africa and also create jobs. This will go a long way reducing outflow of youth out of the continent. I want to see a self-reliant Africa, a continent where we can leverage the numerous advantages of ICT to help in the creation of wealth that will boost our economy. The present reliance on grants and loans from outside will have to be curtailed by promoting self-reliance. Finally, I want to see an Africa that is free of corruption. According to the words of Kofi Annan, former US Secretary General, if corruption is a disease, transparency is an essential part of its treatment. Technology can be leveraged to facilitate reporting of corruption and give access to official information. This was the picture that came to my head when I wanted to write this essay. Like, okay, this is what I want to do. Then I look for a quote. What did Mandela say? I search for quotes. That's why when I started writing this essay, if I show you the first essays, you'll be like, is this the essay? It took me time. It's not something. When I knew I had to leave Nigeria, So like, I'm just trying to, let's relate on a normal, I'm a very normal guy, trying to relate on also like on a normal level, you get. But it takes, I just went through the chat, I saw one guy taking, honestly speaking, in 2-3 weeks, you can write something like this. It just depends, like your subconscious mind should be there. You're always thinking, this makes sense, then you write, this makes sense, you keep painting it until you paint something good. So that was my thought process. What is your vision for Africa? I had 3 visions: education, self-reliant, free of corruption. I looked for 3 quotes, then I just wrote something. That was the picture that came to my head. So that's where creativity comes in. You can tell somebody, what's your vision of Africa? They want to follow the process, introduction, this body of the. Most times you don't have to follow the standard process of doing things. Just be creative. If you can do something that somebody will read and say, wow, that's why I said when I'm writing essay, I don't just, it might make sense to me, but somebody should read it. If the person read it and it makes sense to me, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. You get. So that is one way we can follow. And then we'll go to the last question. So you can ask the question.
That's really great. Although it sounds a little bit like aspire to perspire, but I think it does the job anyways.
Yeah. So how have you contributed, or how do you plan on contributing towards creating the African you envision? So I told a lot of stories. I think this part of the essay, they allowed me to say a lot of things. So I said a lot of things here, and I'm going to explain my thought process on why I said all these things I said. So yeah, in November 2018, upon my graduation from the university, cyber fraudsters attempted to defraud my mother. They tried to lure her into disclosing her card details on the pretext of helping her resolve bank issues. This inspired me to start Cyberlight Limited alongside some like-minded young Nigerians. The platform is aimed at fostering cybersecurity literacy among Nigerians and consequently curbing cybercrime. We've had various sensitization programs as a group, both online, social media awareness, and offline. One of our major online sensitization programs is our weekly awareness tag Cyber Tuesday. This is done every Tuesday on our Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook social media handles at Cyberlight Limited. We select the topic in cybersecurity and explain how it is perpetrated by criminals, provide countermeasures to help prevent them from the attack. Furthermore, our offline awareness campaign has most notably been when I lectured over 100 Nigerian police officers on cybersecurity and reached out to over 2,000 youths and market women on cybersecurity to keep them aware of the techniques used by cyber criminals. Africa currently has over 500 million internet users, statistics to 2021. Nigeria is one of the leading digitally connected nations in Africa with over 100 million Nigerians connected to the internet. Across the continent, more startups are emerging. Recently, Nigerian startup company Flutterwave secured 170 million injections from the investors and is now valued over $1 billion. However, while the internet has impacted the Nigerian economy, the rate of cybercrime threatens the security of Nigeria's cyberspace. One major barrier in the fight against cybercrime is the skills shortage in cybersecurity. There are about 3,500 cybersecurity professionals in Nigeria, which is far less the number of required by organizations to help them defend against cyber attacks, a guidance 2020. The number of unfilled cybersecurity jobs is expected to be 3.5 million globally by 2021, and the candidates who are applying for this position, fewer than 1 in 4 are even qualified. Then I gave a citation. Upon completion of my master's in information technology pursuit in cybersecurity and IT entrepreneurship, I hope to return to my home country, or this one is just normal talk, to help address cybersecurity skills gap between 2023 and 2026. I plan to establish an organization in partnership with the private sector, government through Prime Minister of Education, set up cybersecurity hubs in the computer science department of universities and polytechnics across the country, encouraging would-be graduates, irrespective of their domain in IT, to take up the offer. Furthermore, I'll establish scholarship award for talented youth with low income who are interested in cybersecurity. This is aimed at developing African human social capital through education and skills revolution, emphasizing science and technology. I had the thought process writing this essay, and throughout my essay, I've been telling them that I want to do cybersecurity was my game, or cybersecurity. So all through my essay, everybody knew that I'm coming to tech. My aim is cybersecurity. I want to fight anti-corruption advocates, cybersecurity, and crime. So I had one picture in my essay. That is what I want to do, right? Now, I try to structure this essay in a way of telling my story. So if you watch the last paragraph, right, when I complete this, and I give them a short-term, medium-term, long-term goal, I'll partner with this ministry. When I come back, I'll do this, right? Then I explained a lot of things. I give them facts that, oh, Africa is doing this, but this is a problem. You get? So when you learn how to write in a structured way like this, right, thinking about a lot of problems, what can I do? This is research. You can see I was citing people. That means I read a lot. Oh, I can do this, this is this, I can do this, this is this, right? So that is where writing comes. That is where writing is an art. Too. Most times I'm reading this essay now, I think I can do better. I'm actually writing an essay now for an MBA program, which I think I'm going to get. I know I'm going to write something better. Whereas the practice, I've done this. You keep getting better in anything you do. So I don't know if you've been able to go through my thought process in writing, but this is how I think when I write. I try to find a picture. I try to get a story that makes sense. Then when I get a story that makes sense, then I start writing. Yes, when writing, if they see grammatical error, they can just throw away your essay. But trust me, there are tools that can help you not fall for grammatical errors. There's Grammarly. Even the free version can help you correct grammar error. You can even pay for the paid one. So if you have those tools, you don't even think about grammatical error. That should be the least of your problem. Your problem will now be making sure you paint a good picture. You get? So I didn't want to talk about grammatical error. I know it's a very huge thing, but trust me, if you use tools like Grammarly, right? Even the paid versions, if you can afford it, can actually even give you suggestions on how to better help organize your writing. You might not use all the suggestions, but those suggestions can actually better inform you. So yeah, so in writing, I don't even take grammatical problems as my first point, because I feel I have tools that will help me. So my problem is coming up with a story that if I tell somebody, the person will be like, oh, this is a very good story. So when you're writing your essay, tell yourself, which story will I, if Obama is sitting down, or this top men in this world are sitting there, if I tell them this story, they will shake their head and be like, oh, this is good. If you're not getting that kind of story, then there is something. And trust me, everybody have that kind of story, just left for you to think about it and come up with something good. You get? Because most of these stories I wrote, trust me, I never believed they were anything. I thought they were trivial things until I sat down. Then I was like, oh, this thing is this thing. Oh. Just chatting with somebody on social media. What do you do? I link him. Oh, I have a friend that is doing this thing. I link them. We created a group chat. We're just discussing. That was what we did. But look how I wrote it. Very simple. So it's just like looking for, maybe I just be like, honestly, people love simplicity. Oh. Maybe Nigerians will love ambiguity. Call me this thing, call me this. Here you see professors with all the rank. Come to my office, like, oh, call me this, don't even call me professor. It's Nigeria that we like ambiguity. But when you leave Nigeria, people love simplicity. Try to tell your story in a very simple way. Very simple way as much as possible. So like I told you, learn how to tell story. I told you guys the story before I started. And anywhere you see my picture, anywhere you see my face, that story, we will never forget that story. You get? And that's like the power of telling a story. So I hope I was able to do justice to this topic. And I'm actually rooting for you guys, and I wish you guys the best. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much for this. I mean, I don't know how to describe this session. I think I'm short of words anyways. I would have loved to use aspire to perspire words. Well, I think you're a master at that. So I don't want to shoot myself in the foot. Anyways, I think this is the time for questions, comments, and I want everyone to make use of these great opportunities. So ask, relevant questions and ask questions that would, help your aspire to perspire in any way. Before that, maybe I can just share maybe a few things I noted down from the talk. I wanted to see presentation, but I think it's more of a talk than a presentation. Yeah, so I think I like the way you talk about the citation as well. It's very important to have citations. And you also cited credible sources, not citing Twitter or Facebook. There are a lot of random things people post out there that are not even valid, but you cited credible sources. So I wanted to mention that it is very important. It's not just about citing. When you cite credible sources. And yeah, that's something we should always have at the back of our mind. And this one is just maybe a light joke anyways. You mentioned that you are applying for an MBA program, and I wanted to guess that that's towards the 2023 to 2026 things that you plan to do when you come back to Nigeria anyways. So I believe that's a step towards that goal. That's not a question, but if you want to talk about that, I think we would love to hear about it. Anyway, if anyone has any question, so you can ask your questions. Questions, please ask questions. If you don't ask questions, I'll start calling people out to ask questions. Adiza is here.
Hello, Brian. I guess there's a question on the chat. Maybe you check.
Oh, okay. Can people without first class also gain funded scholarship to graduate schools? Interesting. So I think I'll push that question to our speaker to answer the question.
Yes, people without first class can get scholarship. So scholarship is I don't know how to explain it, but there are a lot of components that make up scholarship. So if I don't have this component, right? So let me make sure that the other components I have, let me make sure I have extra or more than what every other person have, right? If I know I don't have a first class, then I should have more publications than a normal student will have. Because I know that, I don't have a first class, but when they say that these guys are working on a lot of research, that is a plus. I might want to have more certification, more learning. If I'm into tech, I might actually want to have more projects. I want to have my GitHub profile and portfolio. I want to have a portfolio that shows that, I can actually do this. In my school, there's a guy, he studied construction management. He's doing information technology. He didn't do IT, right? He's here.
Wow.
I was having a conversation with him yesterday. He told me that from his second year, he liked IT, started doing IT, but he had to graduate. So if he doesn't graduate, he will not have a master. But he wanted to do a master's in IT. Then he started building portfolio, started building websites, started building his GitHub page, he started building a lot of things. He had a Medium page, he was writing. He was just creating the visibility to show people that I don't have tech, but I know tech. So so the fact that he was writing about tech, the fact he was that visibility part, the fact that he did some papers and stuff. So those things were more than the normal of what people will go to, right, to do. So First class is not the priority, trust me. But people want you to get first class. Do you know why they want you to get first class? Because the fact that if you can keep, I used to tell people, first class is not easy. Even if you are cramming to pass, cramming consistently for 5 years. I did footman at 5 years. It's not easy. Anyone, and that's how school is hard, right? But if you can prove to them that, oh, I didn't get first class, but I still have that tenacity to sustain that rigorous program. Graduate school is hard. I've told you people. So if you're coming to graduate school, you want to Japa, graduate school is hard. Like, I have to be very honest with you. You get, even if you think you're intelligent, you come to school, right? You're taking some courses like with these Asians. You come to school, they ask questions in class. You're trying to say what is happening. These people have finished, they're answering, they're moving. You can't even say I don't understand. What don't you understand? People are moving. Like, I'm very honest with you. I'm not even trying to scare you. I'm just trying to make you. So that's why when they request high things from you, right? They're not just trying to be absurd, because graduate school is, I'm talking from tech perspective. I don't know of other science, but man, graduate school is hard. It's really, really hard. So if you are coming, you should understand. So if you are coming to graduate school, you cannot, like, you are already tired of doing some simple writing. You're going to suffer, because you're going to write some courses, you're going to do publications just for some courses. You're going to do a lot of writings. You're going to do a lot of research. So the process of graduate school is preparing you for graduate school. Those times, I know it's not easy. At some point, I was depressed. I was like, what don't I have? I have the first class. I have the this. So what else? You get depressed. It's normal. And Nigeria, trust me, Nigerians are good though. Let me not even lie. My school, the last convocation that happened, Ayobami was best MSIT. One other lady, Nigerian, was best EC. Like, they were just taking their awards. Nigerians are good. So that means that goes to show you that the space you are coming from, if you apply for a program, you're competing with so many good people. There are a lot of bright minds in Nigeria. So what you're supposed to do is that, okay, my people I'm applying against, how good are they? So how can I make myself reach their standard? Yes, there's a bit of luck, but even you cannot get luck when you are far below the standard. You need to up yourself before the luck plays. So that's just the answer.
Fantastic. I think that's a very fantastic answer. And I think, I'm sure that answers the question. I don't need to ask the person that asked the question if that answers the question. So thank you for that response. Any other question from anybody? I can see that these are.
Yeah, I have a question.
All right, please go ahead.
Okay, so where does imposter syndrome play a role in all this? What I'm asking is, I see myself and a lot of other persons not believing in themselves enough to even write an application. So where do you think it plays a role, and how do you think we can start correcting that?
Interesting question.
Interesting question. I think this question, I'm not going to answer it alone. I'll be calling Hadiza, because Hadiza brought me here. So I'll be calling her too, but let me answer. So how to kill imposter syndrome? I told you I had it. At some point, I didn't apply for scholarship for like 1 month. I stopped applying, getting too many rejection mail. It's just there. You'd be like, what is happening? That imposter syndrome, am I even good enough? I felt it while applying. I even felt it in school. I told you I almost dropped out of school. I was not even kidding. You get, like, my school, where imposter syndrome starts from. In Nigeria, it starts from 70. Here, it starts from 93. Some courses is 95 over 100. I'm not even joking. You get, I'm not trying to scare her. Hadiza is in my school now, but she's a very strong woman. She will do it. But what I'm telling you is that you now get to a point, maybe an assignment, your code is running, somebody have submitted, the person have 100, and you be like, hey, what is happening? And not that getting 100 is easy. It's not easy. So what I'm telling you now is that imposter syndrome is there. Sometimes you doubt yourself, I'm not good enough. But the point is that the fact that you have enough, like the fact that you have the qualification that they put in their sites, this is the qualification we need to apply for this scholarship, then you're good enough. It's just left for you to make yourself that good enough. I mean, reaching that, there is a ladder, right? Just left for you to climbing up that ladder and filling up that knowledge gap. You guys, that's why I tell my students here, like students that are coming to this school, the fact you got admission into this school, yeah, this school might be hard. You're already starting small, you're feeling it. The fact that you got admission, that means you're good enough. You do it. And going back to Nigeria is not an option. That might be a motivation. That was one of the reasons why I stayed back. I wanted to leave. You get, but I'll go back to Nigeria. You get, so anything can be your motivation. Anything can be your motivation, but that is where having a group of people. When I was doing scholarship, let me tell you, my best friend Ayanfe, he was in this call before he left. We had a scholar. I think Ayanfe is still in this call. We had a scholar. Ayanfe is in the US now. He's doing his PhD. He got his PhD route. He's on this call.
Oh, I can see Ayanfe.
Yes, Ayanfe is a very smart guy. You guys should be his friend. Now, one thing Ayanfe we formed a clique among ourselves, a group. We are good. The team, we want to leave Nigeria. That is the team and go to school. But I didn't want to do PhD. I told you I want to be going to politics. That's my long-term ambition. So doing a PhD didn't resonate with me. So I wanted to do a master's. A master's was the way of living. You get. So we started applying together. I might get rejection. I'm feeling down. But the fact that you have people together doing it, so that's where accountability partners and good networks come into place. Your team don't need to be much. 3, 4, 5 is okay. The fact that you people are serious, if this person is down, the other person can raise you up and you will keep moving. That was how I navigated it. I was really depressed. I always call Ayonfe to complain. And I complain, I've not stopped. Even now that we're in graduate school, Ayonfe will call me, man, I'm dying too. We laugh about it. We'll keep continuing because we can't go home. So that's just the thing. So like, that's how I navigate it. And yeah, so any other person can actually add up to this thing. Let's make it a conversational statement. But man, don't give up on your dream. So I beg.
Interesting. I just wanted to mention this Yoruba. There's this Yoruba adage. Yoruba is a language in Nigeria, by the way, for those who are not from Nigeria. So it says, it's not like an adage, but it's just like a general saying in Yoruba that they say, Iwaju Osheglo and Yoshekwadasi. So what it means is that you can't go forward, but you can't go back to where you came from. So basically, you still have to keep on. You still have to keep on going. Maybe you just take a different direction to go forward, which is one of the things you mentioned when you were answering that question. I think imposter syndrome is probably something that all of us maybe we suffer from in one way or the other. So maybe the other thing is how we deal with it. So maybe we all need to develop a technique for dealing with our imposter syndrome. Yeah, I really love the way you answered that question as well. I believe, and I'm sure that question has been answered, and I believe the questioner is satisfied with the response. Anyways, more questions. Okay, maybe we should just take one more question. It's like we've spent about 1 hour and maybe 10 minutes. I believe some people are ready. No, we are not tired actually. I can see we are not tired, but maybe we all need to go attend to some other things. Our speaker here is, just like he said, school is hard. Maybe he has some assignments he needs to submit in the next 10 microseconds. I'm just saying. So you might also want to leave. So one last question before we go. Okay, so there's a question in the chat, which is, my question is about schools requesting for admission before being qualified for the scholarships. Do they always select one for the scholarship, or they don't sometimes? Question is very bit strange. Do you understand the question? So I think what this person is asking is that, you mentioned earlier that before you applied for the MIND scholarship, you had to get an admission from Carnegie Mellon University. So I think what this person is saying, I believe Gani Fatia, right, is that after getting admission from CMU, for example, do you automatically get MIND scholarship? That's what I think the person is saying.
No. I think my scholarship, they use like the same model of chevening. That's why I said like the chevening of Africa. So getting that admission is one way. Okay, like Adiza is in my school now. Like of all the people in my school, we have about 200, about 150 students that get admitted every year. Just 5 persons are MIND scholars. So it goes to show you how rigorous it is, how like it's not just an easy scholarship. So that's how chevening works. Chevening have a stipulated number they pick every year. So getting admission in UK school is very easy. UK, in fact, sometimes when I was applying scholarships, sometimes if I want to get a good news, I just apply for some UK schools. They will send me congratulations. Because UK schools will just cool your mind. UK schools is like one of the easiest ways to get admission. So you get admission. Now the problem is the chevening. How do you get into chevening? You get it, right? So that is where the problem comes, because there are a lot of people applying for it. So that's where you have to come up with. And chevening is not really about results, right? It's about what have you done. So can you communicate those things you've done, either small or big, to getting it? People are getting chevening. It's just like knowing. That's why I came to like a very good level with us to make it relatable. Because I don't make, because at some point when I was applying to scholarship, I was like, are you sure people that get this scholarship are not extraordinary people in quotes, right? Because you feel that way. But somehow my network started getting it. Ayonfe got his offer letter. Man, I'm going to the US. I was like, oh, Ayonfe has gone to the US. We stayed together 5 years. I can go out as well. I'm out. So this goes. So me talking to you now, I'm going to show you like I'm a very normal person, right? So you can actually get it. What you just left for is that just follow the process. Oh, you've gotten the admission. Now, what is the next requirement? Write an essay. Make sure you do the essay very well. Do your best, and
yeah, just keep doing your best, and maybe one day, not maybe, one day one will click.
Yeah, thank you for answering that question. I believe at this point I need to, or we need to all call it a day. This has been a very, very wonderful, fantastic, and I don't know what other words to use, but it has really been a very great session, and I believe we've all benefited in one way or the other. Thank you so much, speaker. We are really grateful for you making out time out of your very busy schedule to discuss this interesting and important topic with us. So he has shared his our speaker shared his Twitter handle in the chat. So the Twitter handle is there. You can pick it up if you want to reach out to him on Twitter at the Twitter handle in the chat. So also if you want to join Ignite Research Academy community, I think the link to the WhatsApp group is also there. So if you want to get information about events like this, and then we also have a couple of other events coming up very soon. So you can join the WhatsApp group to, so you can get all this news when the events have been organized. So thank you all for attending as well, because this event wouldn't make sense without all of you as well. The speaker alone can just be talking to himself, or can I just be talking to me, and then you have a fantastic session. So thank you all for coming as well. We hope to see you in other sessions that we are going to be doing, and keep shooting for those scholarships, keep writing those stories, keep doing those great things you are doing. I believe, shoot for the, how do they say this? They say shoot for the moon. And even if you don't get to the moon, you land among the stars. Interesting. All right, thank you for coming. See you guys later. All right, thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.